December 20th, 1968. A quiet night in Vallejo, California. Two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, parked on Lake Herman Road. They were young, in love, and unaware of the danger lurking nearby. Shots rang out. Their bodies were found the next morning. Betty Lou still in the car, David a few feet away. The brutality of the crime shocked the community. No one knew who could have done this or why. Little did they know this was just the beginning. The Zodiac's reign of terror had begun. July 1969. The killer struck again, leaving a trail of fear and confusion. This time, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were attacked at Blue Rock Springs Park, a place that would never be the same again. Darlene was killed, but Michael miraculously survived, providing crucial details about the attacker. Days later, San Francisco newspapers received chilling letters, igniting a media frenzy. The writer claimed responsibility for the murders. He called himself Zodiac, a name that would haunt the city. These letters were more than confessions. They were taunts. They included cryptic ciphers challenging the authorities, puzzles for the police to solve, adding layers of complexity to the investigation. The Zodiac demanded the letters be printed, a bold move that showed his confidence. He threatened more violence if ignored, putting immense pressure on the authorities. The public was captivated and terrified. Who was this Zodiac? What drove him to kill? What did the ciphers mean? Were they clues to his identity or just another game? The mystery deepened and the fear spread. The Zodiac's reign of terror had just begun, leaving everyone on edge. September 27th, 1969. A sunny day at Lake Berryessa took a terrifying turn. What started as a peaceful afternoon quickly descended into horror. Two college students, Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell, were relaxing on the shore, enjoying the serene environment, when a man approached them out of nowhere. He wore a strange, hooded costume, which made him look like something out of a nightmare. On his chest assembled the Zodiac's crosshairs, a mark that would soon become infamous. He bound and stabbed them both in a brutal and senseless act of violence. This time he left a chilling message on their car, a signature of his twisted mind. The message read, "Sept 27-630 by knife," a cryptic note that added to the terror. Cecilia tragically died from her injuries, a young life cut short by senseless violence. Brian, however, survived the attack and lived to tell the terrifying tale, providing crucial details about the assailant. The boldness of the attack, in broad daylight, sent shockwaves through California, leaving the community in fear. The Zodiac was becoming more brazen, his attacks more frequent and daring, leaving everyone wondering where he would strike next. Lake Berryessa, once a place of tranquility, was now tainted by the shadow of the Zodiac, a reminder of the fragility of peace. The police worked tirelessly to piece together the clues, but the Zodiac remained elusive, a ghost haunting the state of California. His symbol, the crosshairs, became a mark of fear, a sign that no one was safe from his reach. As the sun set on Lake Berryessa, the shadows grew longer, a metaphor for the growing fear that gripped the community. The case remains one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries, a dark chapter in the history of crime. And as night falls, the shadows on the lake serve as a haunting reminder of that fateful day. Section 5, October 1969. A taxi ride into darkness, October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. A taxi driver, Paul Stein, stopped for a fare. It seemed like a routine pickup, but this was no ordinary passenger. It was the Zodiac. He shot Paul Stein at point-blank range. He then calmly walked away, disappearing into the night. This time, the Zodiac took a chilling souvenir, a piece of Paul's shirt. He later mailed it to the newspapers, along with another taunting letter. The city was on edge. Fear was everywhere. The Zodiac could be anyone, anywhere. Section 6. The manhunt chasing shadows. The police launched a massive investigation. Thousands of tips poured in. Every lead was followed, every clue analyzed. But the Zodiac was always one step ahead. He seemed to vanish into thin air. Frustration mounted as the investigation hit dead end after dead end. The ciphers remained largely unsolved. The Zodiac's identity remained a haunting mystery. Section 7. Arthur Lee Allen, prime suspect. One name, however, emerged as a key suspect: Arthur Lee Allen. Allen was a former schoolteacher with a troubled past. He owned a Zodiac brand watch. He had knowledge of explosives and ciphers. He even fit the description given by some witnesses. But the evidence against him was circumstantial. His fingerprints didn't match those found at the crime scenes. DNA testing was in its infancy and inconclusive. Allen was never charged. He died in 1992, taking his secrets, if any, to the grave. Section 8. The Zodiac's shadow-enduring mystery. The Zodiac killer case remains officially unsolved. The mystery continues to fascinate and horrify. Modern technology offers a glimmer of hope. DNA analysis techniques have advanced significantly. Perhaps one day a match will be found, finally revealing the face behind the terror. The Zodiac killer cast a long shadow. His crimes left a permanent mark on the Bay Area. The victims will never be forgotten, and the search for answers continues. Ted Bundy. The name alone sends chills down the spine. He was a monster hiding in plain sight, handsome, charming, and utterly ruthless. Bundy shattered the myth of the monstrous killer. He looked like your neighbor, the guy next door, maybe even your friend. This made his crimes even more terrifying. He exposed the darkness lurking beneath the surface of ordinary life. Bundy's reign of terror gripped America in the 1970s. Young women went missing, their families left in agonizing limbo. The fear was palpable. No one knew who would be next. He preyed on the innocent, shattering lives with chilling brutality. Bundy's case changed the way we view crime. It forced us to confront the uncomfortable truth. Evil doesn't always have a scary face. Sometimes it wears a charming smile. To understand Bundy, we need to look back to his childhood, his formative years. Born Theodore Robert Cowell in 1946, Bundy's life began in turmoil. He was raised by his grandparents, believing his mother to be his sister. This deception deeply affected him. The truth about his parentage eventually came out, but the damage was done. Bundy carried this early trauma. Some experts believe it played a role in his later atrocities. His relationships with women were particularly fraught. He was reportedly shy and awkward in his youth, harboring a growing darkness within. As Bundy grew older, he developed a facade. He became charming, articulate, even charismatic. But beneath the surface, a storm raged, a storm that would soon erupt into violence. The exact number of Bundy's victims remains a mystery. Estimates range from 30 to over 100. Most of his victims shared similar characteristics: young women, often with long dark hair, parted down the middle. He was drawn to a certain type, a type that reminded him of someone from his past. Bundy's methods were chillingly calculated. He often used ruses to gain his victims' trust, pretending to be injured or impersonating authority figures. He lured them in with his charm, only to reveal the monster beneath. He would often revisit his victims' bodies, taking trophies, reliving the kill. These weren't just murders, they were acts of depravity, fueled by a deep-seated rage and misogyny. Bundy's crimes shocked the nation. Who was this monster hiding in plain sight? Section 4. A killer on the run. Bundy's killing spree spanned several states: Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Florida. He was a phantom, drifting from town to town, leaving a trail of death and heartbreak in his wake. His ability to evade capture was astonishing. He was smart, resourceful, and utterly ruthless. He used aliases, changed his appearance, and blended into the background. He was helped by his unremarkable appearance. No one suspected the clean-cut law student, but Bundy's luck wouldn't last. In 1975, he was arrested in Utah for kidnapping. This marked the beginning of his downfall, but it wouldn't be the end. Bundy was about to show the world just how cunning he could be. Section 5. Capture and confession. Even behind bars, Bundy remained a threat. He engineered 2 daring escapes from custody, further cementing his reputation as a master manipulator. He used his knowledge of the law to his advantage. He played the victim, charming his way into people's good graces. But Bundy's freedom was short-lived. He was recaptured in Florida in 1978. This time there would be no escape. His trial was a media sensation. Bundy relished the attention, often acting as his own attorney. Finally, in 1979, Bundy was found guilty. He received 3 death sentences for his crimes in Florida. Facing his own demise, Bundy finally began to confess. He provided chilling details of his crimes, offering glimpses into the mind of a monster. Section 6. Legacy of a Monster. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida's electric chair. His death brought little closure to the families of his victims. The true extent of his crimes may never be known. Bundy took his secrets to the grave, but his legacy lives on. He became the archetype of the charming serial killer. His case forced law enforcement to rethink their methods. It also made us question everything. How well do we really know those around us? Ted Bundy was a monster, but he looked just like us. He's a chilling reminder that evil can lurk where we least expect it. His story is a cautionary tale, a dark chapter in American history that continues to fascinate and horrify in equal measure.